Hello and welcome to a little thing called Auspol Explained. I'm a person called David and today I'm going to be going over something called enrolling to vote, which is something that you can do at age 16 or 17. You can get it done in advance and be prepared to vote the very moment you turn 18. Do it in advance. Like, you can't do it 2 weeks before an election happens. It's already too late by then. So once you've finished this episode, if you haven't enrolled to vote, go do it. Here's how you enroll to vote. Through the AEC, of course. AEC stands for Australian Electoral Commission, and they are your friend. It conducts and oversees federal elections in Australia, and so is the official source of information on voting and elections. You can enrol to vote online by going to aec.gov.au/enrol. If you want to fill out a paper form, you can pick one up from an AEC office or call 13 23 26, and then you can ask for one to be mailed to you. If you or someone you know doesn't have very good English skills, the AEC has translated information on its website, as well as a telephone interpreter service with a list of numbers for different languages provided. Once you have an enrollment form, it's super simple to fill out. Honestly, it's just a few questions. It's like, hey, what's your name? Where do you live? When were you born? The AEC is a big fan of your horoscope, but also a big fan of knowing which electoral division you're allowed to vote in. If you don't have a permanent address, there's an option for itinerant voters, which means people who travel around. There is a slightly different form where you can enroll for an address where you have lived at for longer than a month, or where your next of kin is registered or have the closest connection to, if none of that applies. Once you get a permanent address, you can enroll as a regular voter. You'll need to confirm your identity, which you can do with either a driver's license or a passport. If you don't have either of those, you need someone who is already enrolled to confirm your identity. It's pretty simple. Just grab an adult who's enrolled to vote and be like, hey, I need you to fill out this form. Can you do that for me? Sign here to prove that I am, in fact, not lying about who I am. It's what I had to do because, fun fact, I failed my driver's test 6 times, at least probably. You kinda stop counting after a while. If you did it online, click submit. You know how online forms are. If you did it via paper, you can scan and upload to the website at aec.gov.au/return, or take it to an AEC office near you, or mail it to them. And again, if you have any questions, you can call them on 13 23 26. I know personally I don't like phone calls, but it's gonna be okay and you can do it, or use the website to contact them. They get back to you pretty quickly and they're super helpful and really nice. I like them. And once you're enrolled to vote, ta-da! You did it! You can now vote in federal, state and territory and local elections, as well as referendums to change the constitution. You'll get a letter a few weeks later confirming you're on the electoral roll. You don't need to re-enroll for the next election. You just need to update your address whenever you've moved home and lived there for more than 1 month. You'll stay on the electoral roll until something happens that causes you to be removed, like dementia, death, or moving overseas for 6 years or longer, whichever one comes first. If you're unsure that you've enrolled before, or if you're not sure your details are up to date, you can use the check function on their website. See, that was super quick and easy. There might be slight variations based on which state you live in, like one goes, what's your occupation? And you go, YouTuber, educational YouTuber? I mean, my mum doesn't think that's a job, but like, whatever. Voting matters, and there can be incredibly historic things that you should have a voice on. So, enroll to vote right now if you haven't already. Get ready, because an election is coming. I will see you at the polls.